Dan Rappaport just tweeted Charles Howell III on his decision to join LIV. Quote, money was not a factor, unquote.
It's just a lie. Just a lie.
Foreplay by Barstool Sports. We have Trent Ryan is now back. Are you standing in your apartment? Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah, I'm standing in my apartment because sometimes when I sit and record, a couple things. I got a couch that I sit on when I record, and it makes my legs go numb when I stand up because we record for 2 hours, and then I stand up and my legs are jelly. I ordered a desk. The desk is coming, I think, in a couple of days. So I'm in an in-between period where I don't have the desk yet, and I don't want my legs to feel like jelly when I sit down for 2 hours. So I'm standing in my kitchen recording the podcast. Hopefully you can still hear me because on the last episode, my internet was just shite, as our guy Trotty would say. And I was so bad that I felt like I was messing with the flow of the podcast where I would leave, you guys would freeze, so I'd have to jump out and I would jump back in and you guys would be talking about something completely different that we were talking about then when I left. So then I would feel like, oh, what did they talk about? And I just bailed because I felt bad.
Yeah, we talked about you a little bit after you left.
Oh, what'd you guys say?
Nothing.
We were just we were like trying to figure out like how many.
What'd you say, Frankie?
Oh no, we just tried to say like how many options did you actually go through to try and fix? Like, was there ever an option of like running out of the room and trying to get, or like calling in? You know what I mean? Like,
no.
Was there a point? Was there a point
like
where you just sat there and you're just like, I'm done? You know what I mean? We thought it was after option one. We were just like, all right, like I'm done. It's just I'm gonna sit here.
No, because. Like, what, you want me to jump on a phone? That sounds like shit. And then I miss half the conversation and then I'm in and I'm out. I just think that messes it up. So I just sat there and I said, I'm done.
Yeah, I don't think we even thought you made the wrong decision. We were just kind of running through the options of.
I get the vibes.
You know what?
I can feel the vibes.
What did your checklist look like before you just close your laptop and say, I'm just not doing it today?
Sorry, I was trying to do what was best for the flow of the podcast.
Yeah, no, maybe so big of you.
I'll jump in and out with my bad internet next time.
That is so big of you for the listeners. I appreciate that.
Thank
you. All right, we got quite a bit to get to per usual. I think people have been asking kind of, are you guys going to Myrtle Beach? Like, because we've been talking about it a lot. So, a little update: we're going to Myrtle Beach for a travel series in September. And then we're going to Big Cedar Lodge for travel series in October. So we got two big things coming up. Myrtle Beach. So I'm starting to get pretty jacked up for Caledonia Golf and Fish Club and for True Blue because people are all hyping these things up, talking about Mike Strand's Tobacco Road. I think Tobacco Road is the only Mike Strand's course I've ever played. Therefore, I think probably any of us have ever played. And then there's a lot more going on. BarstoolMyrtleBeach.com. You can get a free round of golf, ladies and gentlemen. All you do is request a no-obligation quote, and you will receive a free round on one of 21 different Myrtle Beach golf courses. Remember to check out the exclusive Barstool Brews Bucks package while you are there. That's the Barstool Brews Bucks package. Courses you can choose from. We got Grand Dunes with 5 holes along the Intracoastal Waterway. Paulie's Plantation, a Jack Nicklaus design with 6 holes that play along a tidal marsh. We'll be playing 3 courses that you can book at BarstoolMyrtleBeach.com. We'll be playing TBC Myrtle Beach, Pine Lakes Country Club, and Paulie's Plantation. If you're looking for great golf, great times, at great value, it all starts with Myrtle Beach Golf Trips. So go check out BarstoolMyrtleBeach.com. Get a free round of golf while checking out the Barstool Brews Bucks package. It includes 3 rounds from 21 sought-after courses and a $50 gift card to one of Myrtle Beach's best breweries, Grand Strand Brewing. I like a nice brewery. I'm on a big beer kick, so breweries kind of tickle my fancy right now. So again, go check out BarstoolMyrtleBeach.com. So all that's coming up, and we'll be doing the trip here in a little over a month. It's almost August, which is pretty wild to think about. And then we have Tiger. It's the year of the Tiger. Roar, if you didn't know that, year of the Tiger. So if you're not particularly up on your culture, if you don't consider yourself a cultural person, newsflash, it's the year of the Tiger. So we've got these Tiger-themed hats. It's a golf podcast, so we threw a little bit of golf in there as well. Frankie's wearing one. I'm wearing one. We got a bunch of other ones back here, actually, that I could showcase. But you can go check out store.barstoolsports.com.
Oh, I got them right next to me. I've got them right. So I'm wearing one. This is the retro hat, which I think is probably one of the best hats we've ever put out. It's got that green bottom. It just
I love the green
90s.
under the bill.
Ooh.
I love the green under the
got the
bill. I
one
just
that
saw that.
you
I
got
don't
the
have
one
mine.
that
Yeah, that thing's nice. Everybody should get
look
those.
how good this
Year of the
one
Tiger.
is.
Oh, we got a bunch of them.
And then this one is the athletic wear, which I think a lot of people like. And it's like really, really soft. I mean, really, really light. Like I'm talking as light as anything, and it's got it right in the corner. And it actually looks really good on the head. So go to the website, go to the store.barstoolsports.com, check them out. You're the Tiger. I mean, how could you not want this animal on your head or on your body when you're playing the game of golf? It's the best animal. It's our favorite animal, and it represents a lot of things that we love. So this
Tigers are
one, they
fierce
knocked this out.
too.
They
Tigers
are.
like tigers will kill fucking anything. I mean anything.
What kills a tiger? An SUV with
Uh,
no brakes?
yeah, I was to
Sorry.
say like
Oh,
you know,
boy.
Sorry, that was bad. I mean, couldn't,
a
right?
car
The
without
answer
a
is no to
chauffeur.
that.
Maybe you could
The
throw
answer is
out
no.
that. Yeah.
No, not even.
I feel like they get gored by whatever they're trying to eat usually. Not usually, but I feel like that might happen sometimes. Something they're trying to eat has horns and
Okay.
the fucking thing jabs them in the heart.
You know, hippos. I feel like hippos are sneaky dangerous. I don't know if hippos kill tigers, but I feel like hippos fuck shit up, and we think of them as lovable, like big teddy bears, kind of.
I think hippos are one of the most dangerous animals in the world.
Is that right?
I might have
Lion's top
I
of the
think
food
that's
chain,
right.
right? King of the jungle.
Lion?
Top of the food chain.
I know
that right?
from Lion King. I think that's true.
But then
Right.
hyenas can kill him.
They got to have a whole pack of them, though. Species at the
Right.
top of the food chain with no predators of its own, also called an alpha predator or apex predator.
Frank Borelli.
Yeah, they got a jaguar. I'm seeing up there. That can't be it. Ooh, polar bear is a good answer. I feel like in that part of those regions of the world, the polar bear fucks shit up.
You ever remember when we were talking? I think we talked about this a couple years ago when like we were first getting into the drones, and I saw this video about this drone.
Lion, first one that came up. Lion.
Awesome. This drone was following like a hawk, like a bald eagle or something like that, or one of like the crazy, crazy hawks that are like an apex predator in that area where like nothing can get around it or kill it. And essentially, this drone was trying to fly behind the hawk, the eagle, and it had to put on like silence suppressing blades, because if the eagle thought that there was something following it at the same speed and height as it was flying, it would then fuck up its trajectory as being like an apex predator, and like everything that it knew in its bones and its brain and its makeup of like how it's supposed to live and how it's supposed to be in its territory and environment would get fucked up by this drone. Because then it would be like, wait a minute, there's something else out there, so we can no longer hunt the way we hunt. You know what I mean? That's fucking crazy that we could do that as humans.
You introduce a new
and we can like
predator.
Yes. And however they communicate, they're like, there's something else out there.
But then my brain goes
we're
to
fucking shit up. We're messing up Earth for sure. Just in general.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. But then couldn't it just be that, I mean, we are living, breathing things that could fuck them up because we have drones that can fly at the same speed of them. Maybe they want to know about that so they can recalibrate a little bit. Like we're a part of this thing, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Like we feel like we are an outsider because we're conscious and we make computers and we make little chips and we make the internet. But like we are still a part of this thing. So maybe that fucking eagle should know that we can make drones that fly at the same speed as them.
Yeah, but it'd be one thing like if we were messing up a certain part of like flowers and plants in the jungle, but we're fucking up like the jungle, the ocean, the sky. We got drones. It's like I think we're a little bit overstepping. I think it's like kind of stick to one thing to fucking ruin, and then the ecosystem can handle it. When you're just kind of everywhere, I think that they're a little bit like, all right, guys, you kind of got a monopoly on ruining things around here.
I'm largely on your side there. I want to say that. I want to be clear on that. But we are still a part of this thing. But I agree with you. We should probably leave something alone because we got our hands in just about every pot you can.
They're hot. This is very hot on the streets right now. The Saudis. And did you guys get tweeted about this linear city that they're like trying to build in the middle of the desert?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that thing? That is like the most. Who would ever sign up to be a part of that? It's the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's a city that's like I don't know what the it's like yards wide or something like you know what I mean. It's like not. It's just one road of just millions of people that go from left to right, and they're within this like glass city, and the glass goes as high as the Empire State Building. You're like stuck inside this thing. And there's supposed to be no roads, no driving, no airplanes, but you can make it to work. You can make it to a restaurant. You can make it to a club. You can make it to a bar, all within these like walking tunnels. It looks like a fucking movie. And they're actually going to try and build it because like it's supposed to help like there's no carbon emissions and there's no like I don't know how the hell they even expect to do this.
Carbon conscious. I like to hear that.
Yeah, they're great there. They're kind of real conscious of things that improve society. I mean,
Keep
I'm
that
looking
carbon
at
out
this
of the
thing.
air. Wow.
This looks like an absolute nightmare. This fucking thing.
Oh my god, it's a prison.
Autonomous services, right? It's
If
a prison.
that's our future, my point being, if that's our future, because like it all comes back to what you guys are just saying, like we're making way too much of an imprint or a footprint, whatever they're saying, on this planet, and like they're trying to come up with futuristic cities on like how it's gonna better whatever the environment. If that's the answer, I'm sorry, I'm out.
I'll say now. I mean, the more I'm watching this thing looks kind of sick. I mean,
It
I wouldn't
looks
wanna,
sick, but it's like a
I wouldn't wanna live there.
Legoland. It looks like
This
Legoland.
is-
It's like if that's the future of cities, I'm glad I'm living in the time that I'm living in right now. Like I think we're in the hot pocket of like of easy living when it comes to like because at some point they're gonna have in thousands of years they're gonna have to make a decision on how to make cities like not pollute the air because the sun's gonna fucking burn a hole through the ozone and we're all gonna die from heat and all this stuff. So they're gonna have to make a decision where life's gonna get worse compared to what it is right now. Does that make any sense to you guys?
Yeah, potentially. This thing is straight out of a movie from hundreds of years in
Blade
the future.
Runner.
This is out of like the Matrix one of these there's like this canal that's going through like a cave with a mix of digital towers. I mean, we can't have this shit, right?
It's like a dystopia. It feels like to me. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also one of those things that's just never going to get built. It's like it's almost like stadium renderings that Glenny Balls likes to get all hard about. Glenny Balls will see a stadium rendering for like the 2027 possible Tampa Bay Rays that's like down in Port St. Lucie. They're going to move this team and it's going to be on the canal and he'll post like 7 blogs about the architecture and how it looks like a sailboat, and then it just never fucking happens. Like all these stadium architecture posts are just they never happen. I remember I used to get so jacked up about Coliseum architecture posts that they're gonna redo the Coliseum and it's gonna look like a fucking lighthouse and they're gonna have a fisherman like stabbing a fucking fish outside the fucking stadium, and like none of that shit happened. None of it.
I don't know. I agree with that over here, but there's not a lot of red tape in Saudi Arabia. It just takes one guy to be like, I want you guys to do that. And they just, the cranes start going, they start building that thing in a second. So that might happen.
I guess we've had like some things like that here. I mean, like that fucking new Apple headquarters is like straight out of the future where it's all circle.
It is.
Yeah.
We drove right by it.
Yeah, that thing's fucking a little freaky looking too, where it's like it's all one circle hallway and they figured out a way to just move everyone around. Completely.
But then remember that they had problems with people running into the glass in the building.
Yes.
It's all glass walls. So they had like a couple lawsuits on their hands where people were just dummying these glass walls and just shattering.
It's like
Oh,
it's like the glass.
Some people
outside,
aren't prepared for the future.
It's like the glass outside US Bank Stadium in Minnesota for the Vikings. The birds were all flying into the corner of like what it looks like a ship, and they were just killing a million birds.
God.
Yeah, it's just not everybody's ready for this. Not everybody's ready. What
Right.
is there like a timetable on this fucking linear thing? This looks like it would take, I don't know, 250 years to build this fucking
Yeah,
thing.
no, you're talking. It's gonna be it's like a mirror glass wall the size of the fucking Empire State Building in height and like miles upon miles. Like cities upon cities long. So I don't. That
It's-
alone has to take
it's
20 years.
It's 75 miles long, if I read that correctly.
Okay, so yeah, this is not in our
What?
lifetime.
Holy fuck.
I wouldn't want that. Who wants that?
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
You know what people do want? Trent breaking 90. We got another episode tonight?
We
Nope.
actually don't. We have Steph Curry playing tonight
Fuck
on
yeah.
our YouTube page.
Even better.
And
No offense.
honestly,
Even better.
sorry, Trent.
It's okay.
I've seen the footage of this, and it's even better. Like, we filmed every single shot of Steph Curry, one of the biggest athletes on the planet, hitting at the Barstool Classic with all of like his little one-liners and just talking with Jay Rich and the whole and our crew and Hannah Cook and me, you, Trent, Riggs. The whole crew was there. It's a fucking phenomenal video, and you get to watch him hit amazing shots. You get to watch him hit bad shots and react to them. It's really cool. It's an amazing video tonight.
Hell yeah.
Essentially,
YouTube?
Steph Curry's playing like breaking like his own number on our YouTube page tonight. You know what I mean? Like he's trying
Yeah.
to shoot like a 72.
Trent's got the week off. You know, he's just optioned the podcast and just said, I'm not going to do, I'm going to give this week to Steph Curry this week.
I've been practicing. That's why I took the week off.
You
And we
have
couldn't
been
get a
grinding.
time to schedule to do it. Yeah, I mean, I have to. If this is actually going to happen, and I got pretty close last time, actually, really close. If I didn't, if 15 goes differently and the third hole goes differently, we could be having a different conversation about a different series. But
I wonder if the listeners will care, or the viewers will care if we just go back to the same place, because I actually think it'd be kind of cool to watch exactly how you take that same course again, and people are so invested in every single shot you take that now they'll be able to compare what decisions you made on hole 15 last time that caused you to make an 8, and then this time that caused you to make a 4. Like, I do think we should go back to Rockville and do that. I don't know if it's next episode or the episode after that, but like, I like the comparison of like, all right, last time we did this, because it worked when we were in the bunker incident. It was like really cool to play 5 again. So I think that in the same series will be good.
I'm with you. And I love that place, so I would go play it again. Obviously, I would go back in a heartbeat. I don't know if people want that. I have no idea what people want, but we might go there next time or the time after. But I want to go back to Rockville because I do think that's where I play my best golf. I just know that place really well.
Also, this week we just had trouble getting on a course. Like I messaged a million different people, and there was like ladies' night at a lot of places. Everyone's like, "Why do you guys always go to these clubs?" And it's like a lot of the public courses just telling me to go fuck off because we're asking for like a group behind us to have a buffer group, and we're asking to have this crew come in with 2 camera guys, 2 guys playing, and it's like going to be filmed, and it's going to be posted. And a lot of these local clubs on Long Island that aren't like the elite of the elite clubs like that promotion, and they like exchange that with us for like being able to go out there and play on their course. A place like Eisenhower like won't even accept my phone call. They're like, "What's your tee time? Where's your passport? And what's your fucking driver's license number?" I'm like, I don't know any of that stuff, so we're not going to come there. So a lot of people have been messaging me about that, like, why do you always go to these clubs? And it's just easier for us. And this week we had like a lot of trouble getting on because of whatever, member guests and all these events and shit. So we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Simple as
It's
that.
sneaky harder to get out, especially right now in the middle of summer when golf's popping. Like, public tracks are just, there's people all over the place. And if you're going to go out and film and try to do the whole fucking thing, you kind of like are in everybody's way and you cause a ruckus, and public courses don't want that. Like, we actually run into that a lot.
Right.
So yeah, that is a good point. Like, we try to document a lot of more like muni places that people go, but at the end of the day, a lot of times it's just fucking easier to go to a club where they're going to take care of you. They're going to block a tee sheet for an hour or so that we can kind of do our thing. So that's a good point. Way to go. Let's give the people a little bit of justification for why we do shit. Couple things we really got to get to. I got an announcement about next week and the Wyndham Championship. We got Sergio Garcia reversed himself. We got the Scottie Scheffler video I want to talk about, and then we have a bunch of From the Galleries to get to. So first, we're going to talk about Gametime. We mentioned Steph Curry video coming out tonight. Steph Curry is one of the biggest draws in the world in terms of sports. If he's coming to town, especially as defending champ this upcoming season, Gametime's the best way to get there. If you want to go to the Wyndham Championship next week, Gametime, the official exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. It's a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports concerts, shows. They guarantee the lowest price. You can find Major League Baseball tickets for under $15, all in on Gametime. Purchase process incredibly quick, incredibly easy. They got a great interface, which is what we want to interact with. We're all on our phones a lot or our iPads When you pop up an app that stinks, you know it right away. When you get one that's got great interface, you know it right away, and you
Riggsy,
genuinely enjoy rolling around. Yes.
I'm going to the Yankees-Mets game tonight at Citi Field.
Come on.
And I used Gametime app last night. I was sitting in some traffic and it just hit me. I'm listening to the Yankee game. At the time they like just gave up 4 runs in the first inning. I'm on my way back from punk practice. And I'm like, I want to go to this game tomorrow. It's Max Scherzer versus Domingo Germán. How am I going to get there? I'm sure it's a hot ticket in New York. Right when I got home, I pulled up the Gametime app. Tickets were all over the place. You can just get any ticket you want in any section you want. They're available like crazy. The best value, because I actually went to the other ticketing apps to see if the prices were lower. Nope. Gametime had the lowest prices guaranteed. I'm going to the game tonight. So when you listen to this, I'll have already gone to the game thanks to Gametime. And I'm really excited. My first Yankee game of the year. I haven't been able to go to anyone. We've been so busy with travel. And tonight I'm going to Citi Field, going to see an away game. Can't wait to see the Yanks in the gray. And it's going to be a good game. So thanks to Gametime, the easiest, and I'm telling you, the easiest way to get tickets last minute.
True. Facts. I'm happy for you. I'm excited to see footage, maybe a couple social media posts, maybe a couple of those famous Frankie Instagram stories where you make your photos pop. Best part, you get $20 off your first purchase. Download the Gametime app, go to the account tab to create a login, redeem code FORE, F-O-R-E, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Gametime, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Go to a Yankees game, redeem the code FORE, download the Gametime app, redeem code FORE, you get $20 off your first purchase. So a couple things about Kevin Kisner next week. So next week, Kevin Kisner is the defending champion at the Wyndham Championship. If people recall, he won like a 7-person playoff with that putt after Adam Scott missed on the first playoff hole. So he is the defending champion at the Wyndham Championship next week. He made the tournament do pre-tournament media via Zoom because Monday he will not be on site because he will be playing in the Barstool Classic Championship or the Barstool Classic stop in Pittsburgh with me. And then he hit me up yesterday and he said, hey, I've been talking to the tournament director. Obviously, he's like laughing at the fact that I'm not going to be in town on Monday. I told him why. And he said, oh, if you're going to be with Riggs, why don't you just bring him on the jet after the tournament Monday down to the Wyndham and we'll get him in the Pro-Am. So Kiz hit me up and was like, do you want to go fly down with me to Greensboro and go to the Wyndham Championship? I was like, yep, I sure fucking do. So Monday, post-tourney at the Classic, I'm going to fly with Kiz down to the Wyndham Championship to Greensboro. I'm going to stay till Thursday night. Then I got to go to D.C. for the Classic. But I'm going to be all over the Wyndham Championship for a couple days. So I've never been there before.
Yeah.
Kiz is the defending champ. I'm going to play in the Pro-Am, which I assume has to be Wednesday. I don't have all the details yet. But if people are there, I actually think we got a pretty strong contingency in that part of the country. Greensboro in North Carolina. We've obviously done a lot in North Carolina and that in South Carolina with kids and all that. So excited. Never been to the Wyndham Championship. Feel like we're going to a lot of PGA Tour events this year. Again, that might not be a coinky dink with a lot of shit going on in this world. But I'm going to be there next week, and it's going to be a huge week for our boy Kevin Kisner because he's going to be a defending fucking champion, which didn't even cross my mind that he's the defending champion in a PGA Tour event next week. But yeah, very exciting updates. Maybe I'll see people out there.
So you say that we've been going to a lot of PGA Tour events, but oddly enough, the PGA Tour has yet to reach out to us, right? Like it's always been individual tournament directors that just have a good head on their shoulders that are like, we should probably get more people involved to get their eyes on this tournament. But yet have we received an email being like, we actually want to partner with Barstool Sports to be able to showcase this tour that is getting flushed down the toilet right now with like all bad media and all this shit.
I guess, but we're definitely being allowed to go to these tournaments. Like, I don't know if it's those tournament directors, individual decision to who they allow. I feel like they probably got to run it up the flagpole at some point. It just feels like the PGA Tour event door is more open than it's ever been to us.
It's very funny, though, that, like, they're like, oh, David Faraday, here's like $15 million to cover LIV and foreplay. We're going to now allow you to come on site to our tournament. And we're like, yeah, fuck yeah. That's great. So it's just, the whole thing is, I don't really know. Like, we're kind of just taking it. We're like, thank you, mommy and daddy. This is great that we're allowed to walk around.
I'll play in every Pro-Am I can possibly play in. Like, if you want to start sending me Pro-Ams, that's the way of keeping me away from $25 million is like, just keep giving me Pro-Ams. And then I'm just going to keep saying yes to those. That's my answer. Like, I just want to play in as many Pro-Ams as I can.
That just makes us the worst negotiators on the planet. But if we get to play in more Pro-Ams, then fine.
Yeah, give me pro-ams and like a gift card to TaylorMade when I walk in, and then like a new pair of G4 shoes when I walk in, and then I'm done. Like that's all I really need.
Dude, this guy, Mark, he's like, Riggs, if you want to come down, I'll put you in the pro am. I'm going to put you up in the best hotel right across the street from the course. And I was like, dude, if there's anything you need from me to promote the tournament, like whatever free media you need from me, I'll just do it. It's totally fine. Just make my life better. So yeah, we stink at this. Clearly, like people are getting tens of millions of dollars all over the place, and we're just like, like a gift card and a tea time. Fuck yeah, I'm just in. So yeah, we probably need to reconfigure, regroup our strategy. But point being, I'm gonna be at that Wyndham next week. I'm gonna be plugging that shit all over the place, probably slinging tickets.
Yep.
So come on out, if you're around, and then maybe we'll regroup post PGA Tour season.
That's crazy that Kiz is the defending champion. And the reason I say that is like time is just different now. Post pandemic, post COVID-19, time feels different. If you had asked me when did Kiz win the Wyndham, I would have said 2 years ago. So it just feels longer for whatever reason.
It's bizarre to think the Ryder Cup was way less than a year ago.
That's fucking crazy.
Like at this point last year, like we were pushing for a completely different Ryder Cup team, especially me. I hadn't even gotten to the point where I was drunk tweeting about Kiz in Europe. That hadn't even happened yet at this point last year.
Crazy.
Yeah, something's different about time. I don't know what it is, and I'm never going to be able to figure it out, but something's different.
Getting older, things are getting faster.
Maybe.
I think that's probably true.
But yeah,
pandemic
the Ryder
did just
Cup
change
was.
Please, Trent.
I was just thinking, the Ryder Cup's like 9 months ago.
Feels like 2 years. Yeah, feels like we should be on the precipice of another Ryder Cup. Plus, with the LIV, I feel like LIV has really changed time in terms of golf as well. It's just made you, I don't know, it feels like more drama, more chatter, more serious considerations about the landscape of professional golf have occurred in the last 3 or 4 months than the last 3 or 4 years total. So it just feels like there's been a lot more that's gone down. Speaking of LIV, Sergio Garcia had a little bit of a reversal. It's not a full reversal. I was a little confused by this because I saw it. Even came across a little note he came across on my score app. A few of my buddies were texting in our group text about it. Like, oh wow, big 180 from Sergio. But the way I see it, Sergio, in one of his little baby fits post British Open, was like, I'm leaving the European Tour anyways because I don't feel loved. And everybody was like, oh, he doesn't feel loved, he's leaving. And then last week, a couple days ago, this week, I guess, it came out, that he has reversed that decision. He's not going to resign from the DP World Tour, aka the European Tour, after conversations with John Rahm and a few other little tidbits that have been coming out. But I don't know that that's even going to matter because at the end of the day, like if he doesn't resign from the DP World Tour, but the DP World Tour is like, yeah, no, you still can't just be on the Ryder Cup team because you're a LIV guy now. That's not him reversing course. That's just him kind of saying, I think he kind of just said, I want to play LIV golf and I want to play a little bit of DP World Tour so that I can still play in the Ryder Cup.
Right. That's how I see it.
So he just wants, he wants cake and eat it too, right? That's pretty much what he wants.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he even knows what he wants. I guess he does know what he wants, but he doesn't know how to get it. And I don't think he's going to get it. Like if he's a LIV guy, then I don't think it's going to happen. Would be my guess.
Right. So, and then I guess now John Rahm is in a spot where he's been trying to get the tours to negotiate because if guys that are clearly core figures of the European Ryder Cup team that choose to go to LIV can't play on the Ryder Cup team, that screws European Ryder Cup team forever because, they already got steamrolled last year. If they want to have any chance going forward, they're going to need to at least be able to put forth the best players that they can because once you get to that bottom 4 or 5 on the European Ryder Cup team, it starts to get pretty scarce when it comes to a lot of the top name talent. So he's kind of panicking about that. So yeah, I don't know where exactly it's going to go. The thought, we talked about it pretty bit, but the thought of Sergio Garcia and Lee Westwood and Henrik Stenson and Ian Poulter never being European Ryder Cup captains because they chose to just go to LIV is it's fucking monumental in the history of golf.
I do wonder, and just playing this thing all the way out, like if LIV doesn't succeed, which right now it seems like it's in a position to succeed. I don't see it going away anytime soon. But if at some point the bottom drops out, something happens, and all the guys they're like, we're done with this, and it ceases to exist at some point. If that happens, this whole thing is going to feel like a fever dream in golf. Like, we'll think about it in a way like, remember when guys were just handing over their Ryder Cup eligibility for a paycheck? Like, we're living in the middle of it right now. And like I said, right now they're doing far better and getting far more talent than anyone ever predicted, maybe outside of Greg Norman. But like, if it ever just doesn't succeed and these guys eventually have to go back to the tour or whatever, we're going to look back on this as just the strangest, weirdest time in golf, because it really made guys decide, it made them make decisions that we never thought they were going to have to make. And if you had these ideas theoretically and been like, all right, Henrik Stenson, you're the Ryder Cup captain. That happens at some point. Say this is in the past. We're saying, hey, Henrik Stenson, in the future, you are going to be the Ryder Cup captain of the European team. But somebody's going to knock on your door, offer you money, but that money comes along with losing your Ryder Cup captaincy. What would you say? And at the time, this is in the past, he would have said, hell no. The Ryder Cup captaincy is a dream. If I ever got it, it would be a dream come true. But we now live in a reality where that theoretical situation came true and he took the money. That is so crazy to me. And if it ever fails or it doesn't work and guys have to come back to the tour, it's going to look even crazier as it looks right now.
Yes. It's
weird, dude.
Yeah, it's something. It's an existential crisis to a system that we've just had our entire lives. It's the only thing we've known is PGA Tour. That's how you come up. You play college golf. You play Korn Ferry Tour. If you're lucky, if you're not, you got to do the Brooks Koepka, the Callum Tarren. You got to go to Asia, Europe, whatever. Work your way up. The dream, the goal. You get to the PGA Tour. You win a PGA Tour event. You cry, your family runs on the green. It changes your life forever. And then you get in the majors. And if you can win a major, you have done it. You are the cream of the crop. You are the best. You're the belle of the ball. You can now, look at Trevor Immelman. Wins one major, the Masters. Now he's just in the chair for the next 30 years of one of the most coveted positions in golf broadcasting because he won a major championship. He did the thing. And now after, decades of that, it's just something completely new where people are throwing away all of that, right? Like Phil's a good example. Phil was going to be a Ryder Cup captain. Phil was going to be in the broadcast booth. A few years ago, he was in the booth dummying Nick Faldo, and everybody loved it. And we were like, here's the future. It's Phil is going to be this elder statesman. He was the assistant captain for the Ryder Cup team this last year. First time he wasn't actually on one in like 30 years, and it went great. The guys loved it. They're all telling stories afterwards about Phil, on their feed, on the walkie-talkies, how funny he was, and it was like, he's the guy. And then within mere months, it was just over. And Phil now is a walking villain. He walks around he doesn't even have his logos on. He's wearing his own logo. They don't cover him. They refuse to put him on TV. He's got like the weird kind of salt and pepper going on that I've never seen him have. He's shooting 50 over every time he plays. It's like and that happened because of what you were saying, Trent, and it happened to Phil. He's one of the biggest names he's the second biggest name in the game over the last 30, 40 years. But it's clearly happening to the other guys on smaller scale because they are a smaller scale and that they're smaller names. But like Henrik Stenson, gone. Like literally went from captain to gone. I don't know if that's ever happened before in the history of the Ryder Cup. Definitely not in the modern era where he was the captain and just had it stripped. And he's not alone. These other guys, to the point where they're trying to like backtrack and whatever. It's fucking bizarro land that this is occurring. And you're right. It's almost like it's LIV Tour succeeds or bust for these guys, because if it doesn't, what the fuck are they going to do? Yeah, they're going to have a ton of money, but if they want to play golf, and Will Zalatoris had a great quote, I think that came out yesterday. He was like, if you gave me all of the money in the world, I would be doing what I'm doing right now, because this is what I love to do. I want to go out, try to be the best player I can, try to win PGA Tour golf tournaments against the best players in the world. That's what makes me tick day in and day out.
I think that's a very pure and rare way of thinking from Will Zalatoris. Also, would love to know if he was presented with $300 million, if he'd be the same. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if I had all the money in the world, you hear a lot of these guys, Fortune 500 CEOs that are like, if I had $10 million, that'd be it. And then if I had $50 million, that'd be it. If I had $100 million, that'd be it. If I had $1 billion, that'd be it. And it just keeps going up and up and up. You don't know until you
But
have
the
it, I
but
think.
the thing that I think's different is that Will Zalatoris is playing a game, and by playing on the PGA Tour, you are playing that game at the highest level imaginable. You are high school sports. You are doing that times a million. You are continuing that chase, and that is a true dream. If you're like the CEO of a company, you deal with a lot of shit that fucking sucks. You don't want to deal with. You're like running meetings and HR issues and like that's not necessarily a dream. Yeah, the money's a dream, but like Will Zalatoris is going to the driving range, which he loves to do. He's grinding on his putting, which he loves to do, and then he gets to take that onto the field of competition and try his hand against the best players in the world for coveted titles that he's dreamt about since he was like 5 years old. So I think that is quite different than a CEO. Like, and I think like if the Jay Monahan example of if you asked him, like, oh, if they gave you $1 billion, would you just be the CEO of the LIV Tour and not of the PGA Tour? I think that even in and of itself is very different than a Will Zalatoris because still, I think being the CEO of like an organization in a lot of ways fucking sucks. I think it drags. You're dealing with just people bitching at you all the time. Whereas Will Zalatoris is like, I'm playing golf every day. This is great. Whether I'm playing golf I want to be playing golf on the PGA Tour. I'm making millions already. What else do I need? And I think that's been Rory's point. That's been JT's point. That's been Max Homa's point. And I think that a guy like DJ clearly has different interests. I think he clearly is like, yeah, I'm 40 or whatever. I've won a couple majors. I'm way probably more into like banging Paulina and partying on my boat than I am on chasing PGA Tour titles. Whereas Will Zalatoris is like, I almost won 3 majors in a row. This is what I want to do. So I do think that like, I honestly think if he was presented with $500 million to just go on LIV Tour, I'm not saying 100%, but I think there's a good chance he'd be like, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah, it does seem like a lot of the names that we talk about it's guys who have tasted the success and they're like, that just doesn't do it for me. Like it doesn't get me amped up the way that it used to. Now there are younger guys who took the money and those guys are in a different spot. But for a guy like Will Zalatoris, he's like, I haven't won a major yet. And there's a chance that if I join this LIV Tour, I'm not even going to have the chance to win another major or win my first major. And he's not interested in that. He wants to win them. He wants to play golf at the highest level, like Riggs is saying. And the other guys, the Phils, the DJs, the Brookses, they've won multiple majors, a ton of majors between the three of them. And they're just like, I've already done that. So I'm going to go make a ton of money. They're just not motivated by the drive to be the best and play the best competition anymore. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, when these guys win, specifically the younger guys, and they like cry on the green and their families hug them, there's probably 2 different types of people that are thinking about 2 different types of things when that happens. Will Zalatoris probably is like, I accomplished this goal that I always knew I could accomplish. I'm one of the best players in the world. I'm doing my thing. And like another guy might be crying because like now he gets to like take care of his family and all of the guys around him. And he's finally a millionaire. And like all the things that he wanted to do in his life with money is finally coming to fruition. He doesn't have to grind on the Asia Tour anymore and be in the Corn Ferry. He doesn't have to drive from city to city, sleeping in his car and all this stuff. Like a Callum Tarrant, when he wins his first PGA Tour event, is going to be a lot more emotional, maybe about his financial stability now and being able to just be in this thing and become like a big household name, as opposed to like, all right, now I'm like 1 away from catching Tiger Woods and like being in the record books. Like that initial feeling might be different for different people. You know what I mean?
I would say those things aren't mutually exclusive though. Like if you,
They're
when
not,
you win,
think,
you can, you can feel both. I think most guys probably feel both. I think they're probably like, holy shit,
but
I have all this money now and I
guys
accomplished this thing as well. Or the other way, it's like, oh, I accomplished this thing I always wanted to. Oh, and I have all this money. I actually think those things are far more mixed than they are mutually exclusive.
But they're mutually exclusive in the fact that at the end of the day, guys are choosing one over the other, and you're seeing that now from week to week with LIV Tour. Like guys are just deciding on one over the other. So like I'm just saying that there's 2 different types of people, I think, that what drives them more. Like clearly what you're saying, if Will Zalatoris was presented with $500 million, what drives him more is all the stuff that Riggs just said. And then if you show Matthew Wolff that $500 million, he's going to go to the money as opposed to like caring at all about being a PGA Tour historic leader.
All right, and if we look at it that way, which it probably is that way, the numbers far more skew in the PGA Tour direction. Like we see all the names that the LIV guys get, but it's a very, very, very small percentage of people who have gotten that money. Like it's the fields are small; they're doing that on purpose. So it's like, yeah, maybe they offered all these guys a ton of money. It seems like they offered everybody under the sun. Anybody who had any sort of pedigree on the PGA Tour got an offer from LIV, and a very small percentage of players, a very small percentage of the top 10 players in the world took that money. So then you got to think that the regular, like the way the human brain would work, is it money or is it glory? It seems like a lot of people pick glory. We're just focused on the guys who pick the money because they're huge names.
But there's only like 20 guys that make the PGA Tour what the PGA Tour is. So there's already a very finite amount of people that LIV could have picked from that would have made an impact, right? So like I mean, we talked about with Sam Ryder,
20 million.
No, I know, but I'm saying like even if they get a couple of them, like that is still a major amount of percentage of the actual people that make the PGA Tour what it is. We talked to Sam Ryder about this, and he's a PGA Tour lifer. The guy loves the PGA Tour. We talked about this with him at the Pro-Am, and he's like, there are guys that just make the PGA Tour what it is, and like I'm not one of them. Like I'm not the top 25 guys. People don't go to the 3M specifically with Sam Ryder jerseys on. Like there's like 20 guys that have made our lives a lot better. So like my point is like when you take that little pool, those are the guys that have to decide between like the glory and the money. Like everyone else that's like denying.
How many of those guys do you think they got?
I mean, at this point, like Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, those are money makers for the PGA Tour. Bryson DeChambeau, Phil, so that's 4. I mean, Patrick Reed probably wasn't like the biggest money maker, but still a huge name. If they get Cam Smith, that'd be like all time.
Right. If they got Cam Smith, that like I honestly think Cam Smith is like the linchpin in the whole thing.
Wolf,
like he is just young and he's a draw and he's got a personality and he's good. He's really good.
Yeah, and look,
I guess the point I'm trying to make is like these guys who left doesn't matter. Like
no, obviously they're but like if you take 5 guys out of 25, that's like now we're talking about like a bigger percentage than what you're saying. Like obviously
that
guys from
20
40 to 125.
Tour.
Yeah, it does. But I'm just saying that like there definitely are guys that are in that big group that value different things. Like, and it's not as much. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it really.
Well, look, I think like the simple fact for me, right? Like if you gave me $1 billion and said like it's over, you could just retire. Here's $1 billion. You know what I would do with that money? It's like I would set up as many buddies like Ryder Cup trips as I could so that we could like play fun golf that kind of meant something against each other. And I think it's like when somebody retires and they sit on a beach for like a day and then they end up getting a job as a Walmart greeter because you want to fucking do something, right? Like you need a purpose in life, I think, for most people to feel and like fulfilled and true happiness and a balanced life and all of that. And I think Will Zalatoris' point and Home and all them is like, no, this is what I do as a human being. And so if I had $500 million, like I'm not going to be happier. I'm going to be richer, but like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to want to win golf tournaments, and I can't do that on the PGA Tour there. So why would I even consider it? And I think Frankie's point is very good in that, like, well, clearly not everybody has that, because if that was true, then everybody would be on the PGA Tour. But I do think, like, if you go through, as you guys were having that discussion, like if you go through the world rankings, like Scottie Scheffler is number 1 PGA Tour, Cam Smith number 1 or number 2 PGA Tour. Obviously that might change, who knows. Rory McIlroy PGA Tour, Patrick Cantlay Tour, John Rahm Tour, Xander Schauffele Tour, Justin Thomas Tour, Morikawa Tour, Hovland Tour, Matthew Fitzpatrick Tour, Sam Burns Tour, Jordan Spieth Tour, Will Zalatoris Tour, Billy Horschel Tour, Hideki Matsuyama Tour, Tony Finau Tour. It's till you get to 17th in the world that Dustin Johnson is the first guy, and I would say he's gone down in the rankings for the last few years. And so to Sam Ryder's point, and then you got to go to, after that, you get to Brooks Koepka, who again has been going down, injuries, but he is there 23rd. Bryson is 30th. It's like these guys, yes, they're getting names, but I think it's a little bit skewed in that like they're getting Phil and Sergio and Henrik Stenson. Those guys are names, but like some of the people that are on the PGA Tour that we don't consider names yet are 20 years younger that haven't become the Sergio yet, but they will. And like that's a big part of it, that the LIV Tour is not creating something that's really paralleled to the tour. I don't think, because like the tour still has all of the people that want to create legacies as great golfers with great golf professional careers. And that's clear when you go through the top 15, 16, 17 names in the world of golf right now. Those guys are on the tour and have committed to the tour up to this point. That could change. And yes, there's going to be guys that clearly have different priorities. And I think we've seen that with Brooks, with DJ. But those guys have also had pretty good success, accomplished things, and are at different points. They've gotten married, they're having kids, whatever, where it is different. But yeah, I think you can kind of tell in the LIV versus tour where the guys have that, priority. And I think the guys that play golf purely, or not purely, but mostly for money, are going to be more emphasized or drawn to the LIV Tour. And the guys that are playing because like this is what they've wanted to do their entire lives are going to be PGA Tour. And I think you're going to see at the end of the day more guys be PGA Tour, but not all of them. It's not going to be the entire crop.
I don't know if I've ever asked this when talking about it, but what's the negative of the PGA Tour allowing this to just be a complimentary tour? Is it strictly morality, or would they actually lose out on like money and sponsors, and would they lose out on tour events? Like I genuinely don't see what they would lose. They'd only like gain. Like
I think
it's
it's a market share, right? Like the industry is only so big in terms of like professional golf interest, that I think if you allow a competitor to come in and you just let it happen without trying to do anything to stop it, I think you're just giving up market share. Right? Like I think that would just be poor business right out of the gate to let it happen. Now, clearly they're at a point where I think it hasn't worked out with the method that the PGA Tour chose. So I think a lot of people believe they're going to have to eventually integrate or accept it or something. But you are the point I think you're trying to get to, that I was thinking about earlier as well, is like none of this Ryder Cup like ineligibility and people being ostracized. None of that would even occur if the PGA Tour had just been like, oh yeah, they have the complimentary tour, go play it. That's fine. Like none of that would be occurring. They would just still be on the PGA Tour.
That's what I've been trying to think of this entire time. And also like, and hindsight's 2020, and like obviously a perfect world, this wouldn't be a thing. And then even on the other side, in a perfect world, they would have just been able to meet, and like LIV would have been on the off weeks or the off months that the PGA Tour was on, and it all would have been fine and dandy, and everyone would have gotten what they wanted. But at this point where we're at now, I just don't see a negative in like merging, aside from the morality aspect. I don't see a negative for the PGA Tour to be like, yeah, like we just want all our guys to be able to play in all of our big events.
Do you think there are guys that would be playing LIV Tour events if it weren't for the tour's hard stance?
I do think so, yeah.
So then I think that justifies the tour's hard stance, right? Because like if
couldn't they still play at the tour is my point. Like if they're playing 7 events for LIV, like wouldn't they still then be a tour member? And like really, what are you losing by letting them go do that?
Well, I think you're losing, like by allowing that, you're validifying and giving credibility to those events. And believe it or not, those events do go against PGA Tour events. Like this week, I mean,
I know.
So now you've got the Rocket Mortgage who paid you all this, and you spent years with your sales team and your business team building out this event. And now you're just allowing another event to like trounce it. Like that's just, and you do that 12 times a year, 14 times a year. I think it just gets probably really tricky from a business standpoint. But I think the simple fact of like, there definitely are guys on the PGA Tour that if they wouldn't have lost Ryder Cup and President's Cup future and wouldn't have lost PGA Tour membership, like probably would be playing in some LIV events. And that's probably the tour's justification for their hard stance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. LIV Tour. I will say we've talked a lot about this fucking tour, so they're doing something. It's really hard to argue that they're doing something. I want to I want to talk real quick before we get to a few from the galleries, and I want to talk about this Scottie Scheffler video about Sling TV. If you're going to be watching the PGA Tour, you're going to be watching really anything sports. I had NFL Network on last night because before we know it, we're going to have football seasons coming around. We're going to have the Super Bowl in Scottsdale at the same week as the Phoenix Open this upcoming winter, which is going to be insane. Sling TV. Shark Week, debatably the best programming this summer. I saw some crazy thing where a shark swam into a tank on Twitter the other day.
Dude, sharks are popping up on Long Island like crazy.
Sharks on the Northeast this year are a problem, I noticed.
Bro, there was one on just off Rockaway Beach where the shark like did the spinning out of the water thing, which I think is like a tactic of biting whatever was up at the surface. People are just screaming in horror. Yeah, there's sharks all over the place on Long Island this year.
Wait, the shark did the thing where he sprints up from the bottom and just flies out of the water?
Bro, there's a video of a shark at Rockaway Beach just flying out of the water and does like a 360 spin, which I'm pretty sure I've seen on Shark Week on Sling TV. It's like a maneuver that they go up and spin and come back down. It's like
I just saw it. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a torpedo. That's a torpedo.
Oh. Yeah, that's that move. Like the on Shark Week is where I've seen this, which you can watch on Sling TV. But that is where they dragged the dummy seal behind the boat, and the shark just goes from like 100 meters below the water and just flies up and smokes the thing.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Oh boy. If you're not in a Shark Week, we might judge you, but Sling will not. Sling's got you covered with pro and college football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, golf, racing, and so much more. They've got reality TV. I know our very own Trent Ryan is a big Bachelor guy. Cutting Stems, little Cutting Stems appearance on Monday. You can keep up with the latest gossip with today's hottest shows on channels like TLC, Bravo, MTV, and more. I'm the HGTV guy because they got a lot of cool home improvement stuff on there. I know.
Love HGTV.
Well. It's fantastic.
Fucking love it.
Go to sling.com/barstool to sign up now. Try it for half the price during your first month. Happy Shark Week. They're very big into the Shark Week thing on Sling TV. So sling.com/barstool. Sign up now. Try it for half the price during your first month. We have our own channel on there too. We got our own reality TV shows coming that are hitting all over the place on Barstool, and that's on Sling. So go check out Sling. Sling.com/barstool.
Real quick before we get
Barstool's the most dangerous game show. Everybody should watch out.
Oh yeah, really good show.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
unbelievable show.
Yeah,
Roan is so good.
Roan's amazing in everything he does, specifically leading a band, which is going to be playing tomorrow night in Atlantic City. If you're in the Philly area, if you're in the Jersey area, if you want to make the trip down Atlantic City, we're going to be at Anchor Rock Club. I have like breaking news for that. I've never seen this be done for promotion or for just a rock show in general, but PFT. So there's a Powerball or Mega Millions that's going to be going live, I think on Friday night for like $800 something million, right? And PFT just bought like $500 worth of lottery tickets and says that any person that purchases a ticket to Anchor Rock Club is now going to win a piece of his lottery winnings if he wins the $800 million. So every single person that goes in is now a part of win. So you could show up to a rock show and then possibly be one couple hundredths or whatever of $800 million. Like you're entering a lottery by then showing up. We're giving you a free lottery entry. It's like an amazing, amazing promotion. Imagine that. Imagine we win and then the place goes fucking nuts. That's like the best moment of all time.
Go to a rock show, leave a fucking millionaire.
Dude, and we're not even like bullshitting. You have a chance to become a millionaire. Everyone's got a chance. You got to be in it to win it. Everyone has a chance, right? So like he's buying those amount of tickets. It's done. Like we're in. Everyone that enters. So that's a fun thing. Send that to your buddies. Say we have a chance to win a couple $1,000,000. And then we're gonna go see a good rock show. Roan, we had Rudy and Jackie from KFC Radio came to just hang out and film a couple stuff, and they couldn't believe how good Roan was. He's like the way when he raps and like sings like Sublime, What I Got and stuff. He makes me like wet. It's crazy how good that guy is. Trent Daddy, I think I need to get you in a seat for the next show because you've been doing the hockey bench sway the whole entire time, and it's giving me motion sickness. Bro, that's got to be crazy for YouTube viewers. Absolutely fucking crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
it's
just
been
how I
fucking
understand.
50 minutes. Woo!
My
I've been
mom,
looking at you in the bottom of my screen, bro, and I'm like, I can't take it anymore. I had to get it out of me.
My
Can you hear me
mom,
now?
yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you. My mom,
Okay.
who watches all of our videos, bless her heart, she said like the one takeaway. Well, she loves them, first of all, and then second, she's like, "You just sway all the time." I'm like, I
Bro,
don't even notice that I'm swaying.
you've been swaying like a motherfucker today. Today
I don't
you've
even
been
notice that I sway.
Oof. Bro, at
Listen, the
one
next time,
point I'm gonna stop you when you're like really deep swaying.
we do this podcast,
sway
I gotta plug this thing
shaming
in
right
because
now?
the computer's gonna die. The next time we do this podcast, I will have a desk, I think, so I won't be standing, and there'll be no more
What kind
swaying.
of desk you go with? What's the desk buying process like?
It's tough, man. You just look for something you like. I don't know. That's really the only way I can explain it.
Did you go into a furniture store or did you do it from the internet?
I did it from the internet. I do a lot of this stuff from the internet. I bought a couch. I went and I bought the couch. I sat on the couch because I had to do that. But a desk is like, I like the way it looked. It fit in the space that I wanted to put it.
I've been
So I
doing
bought
all
it.
these. Yeah, the shopping's a nightmare. Like I go to Hobby Lobby, Home Sense, Home Goods, and like you go to all these different types of places. There's all these trinkets and knickknacks, and then you look for like a console table. How many console tables are supposed to be in one house? That's what I want to know. I've bought 4 console tables, and
billion,
now I
man.
need a
If you-
new one. Now we need a black console table to go underneath the photo wall. I don't even know what a console table is. I just know that it costs $185 sometimes, and
It's
like that's
tough
like the
because
5th time we bought one.
the shopping is a grind and you have to buy all this shit. But then I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I want this place to look nicer. Because right now it looks like when I moved in. It looks like nobody's moved in yet. Somebody threw a couch
Right.
in here and that's kind of it. I want it to look like a nice place. So you got to go through all this stuff like buying a desk, buying a couch, buying TVs, buying artwork, buying console tables, which I genuinely don't even know what that looks like. I have never even heard
Console
of that before.
table is like a little mini table that just goes on a wall, like against a wall, and you put like a fucking vase or whatever on it. It's just
I should just
it's
fly my mom out
a
and have her
nothing.
decorate this place. She would
One of the
love that.
worst uses of furniture, like the worst utilitarian value of all time. It
I
just
don't know.
sits there to have things that sit on it that people think look nice, but it
Now
doesn't.
we're buying
you
a
don't use-
bookshelf for for the TV room, and I'm a noted book hater. Like I don't even know. So like we're buying that just for looks. Like she's gonna put a little fucking one of those little mini fake plants on there. I can already picture what it's gonna look like. It's gonna be
And
a
the only
couple
people that are
books.
really going to look at it are going to be like you guys.
There's gonna be a couple books on there that are so strategically angled and placed on there just for the look. And then there's gonna be a couple of little, maybe one photo frame, a green little fake plant, and then that's gonna be it. And I'm never gonna take a book on or off that thing ever.
I will say, as a guy, so I do have a lot of books, and as a book reader, books are a problem when you move. And like when you move into a new space, like I don't know if you guys can see back there, I got a bunch of books on that table. I don't know if you guys can
Nerd.
see.
Fucking
Bunch of
nerd,
books,
dude.
Yeah,
and
but
I just have
Trent,
nowhere
you
to put
can-
them. I just don't have
You
a
can get like a
single-
little bookshelf and that'll look nice. That's like, but yours is real. Yours has like a real backstory where you consumed those books. You read them. Frankie's is just a facade.
Oh, what are you gonna
Everything
do?
he's
Put
doing-
your fucking your Spotify plays on there when you read all your books
Hey.
because you listened to them?
I actually meant to send you guys. I saw.
Oh, I saw this.
I saw a tweet going viral yesterday that was essentially like, okay, so if a blind person, read a book with Braille, are you going to be like, no, you didn't read that book, you felt it?
Yeah, but you have the ability to read books.
I think I'd say they felt it. Sorry, it's a hard world out here. Like I don't know. We're not just
fucked up.
we're not handing out fucking trophies for like reading books. It's just what it is. What it is. They physically felt the book. Yeah, they did. That's like that's their form of communication and reading. And
Now, somebody made the other point that for thousands of years, the way an audience actually consumed books was through an audio rendition, a reading of the
Shakespeare?
book, because they didn't have, it was Shakespearean, it was all that. They obviously didn't have printing press forever, so there was only like one fucking book, and in order to consume it, somebody would read it or perform it in a play in front of an audience. And so really, you guys are the ones that are out on this
No.
whole thing.
okay,
and
no,
doing
no,
this
no. But now
new version where you sit alone and like look with your eyes reading across. It's fucking
Okay,
crazy.
okay.
I've been
Okay,
doing
now,
it the
in-
right way
in
for
those no, you
thousands
haven't
of
been.
years.
You haven't been. In those times, would they consider all those people in the audience had read the book, or was there like in that time, in that era, was reading a book like a 1 in a billion opportunity, and you had to be like some sort of scholar and you had to be rich to be able to be the one to read it? Or was it just you listened? Yeah, we went and like listened to a book today. Like that's like that was what they did. They never even thought about the term reading because they weren't ever reading it. So they didn't read any books. They just listened to them.
Right, because they could conceptually understand the greater
No,
purpose
no.
of a book, which is to consume the contents of the book. It's not to get hung up on semantics of who read or who didn't. It was to consume and digest the contents of the book, which, again, I know you're against the blind community, but I would give
not. I'm
every
just
blind
realist.
person that has read a book via mail the credit that they have indeed read that book.
I'll tell you what it sounds.
But
what it
I
sounds
want to
like
get
is,
hung up on semantics.
One, you're appropriating blind culture is what you're doing by listening to a book. You're taking what you can read a book though. That's the difference. You have the ability. You've got the eyes.
So can they? They use Braille. That's
also
like, so everybody can.
I want to get hung up on semantics. Like you have not read a book in a long time. You've not physically read a book. So I do want to get hung up on semantics.
You didn't read Shoe God, okay?
I want to get hung up on semantics.
Shoe Dog, right? It's not
Shoe Dog, you didn't read it.
Like
I read it. Everybody agrees that I read it.
There's different forms of, I don't even know, consuming a book. You can read a book, you can listen to a book, you can feel a book, but they're different things.
Amazingly, books were originally invented to be consumed the way that I'm consuming them.
It's because that's the other thing. You now live in a time where you're so lucky that places like Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all these bookstores exist where they print these things en masse and you can get your hands on them. How lucky are you? And you are still throwing it. You are throwing the technological advancements away and deciding to listen to them. That's what I hear.
No, I'm using the greatest, newest form of technological advancements to be able to consume books the way they were originally meant to be consumed without having to travel to a theater to see it consumed that way. I could just be walking through the fucking airport. What are you, holding a giant book walking through the airport with the pages flapping through the like what are we doing here? That's archaic. I'm doing something. I'm now able to consume a book the way they were originally intended to be consumed for thousands of years while just going about my day-to-day life. It's incredible. I think you guys are, I don't know what you
can make
doing.
this argument.
Trent, you got a whole table full of books there. I bet you're sweating your cock off trying to transport those things from your last apartment to the next one. All my books are right here, baby. Every one of them.
Listen, you can make this argument until the cows come home. But I know when you're closing your eyes at night, you think, I didn't read that book.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's true.
Scottie Scheffler video.
crazy.
One of the
crazier things.
Took me a second to realize what I was watching when I hit. If you haven't seen this, Scottie Scheffler tailor-made video. All of our crew out there, Dane, the stranger, Barbuti, everybody's like hitting me up, being like, "I was fucking there for this. This was incredible." He's out there with Adrian, who we've had on the show, doing some club fitting and some tests, and basically they're out there with the launch monitor, the full swing golf type technology. Scottie Scheffler's hitting drives, hitting 3-woods, is hitting UDI, long irons, 4-irons, all kinds of stuff, and then he just in real time is guessing what the yardage was and getting them correct to the fucking yard.
I got a bunch of responses saying like he's a professional golfer and like distances on long yardages. Like we all know our distances. Like, are you a fucking lunatic asshole? I fucking hate every single person that didn't watch this video and say that that's the most impressive things I've ever seen in my entire life. This guy is hitting a little white golf ball with like 116 mile an hour club speed or whatever it is, and knowing the exact yardage that ball lands. What are we even fucking talking about? To the exact. Bro, at one point, Adrian started laughing, being like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, he said, like, 271. And it was like 271 on the dot. That's such a far distance to get correct. What are we even talking about? And then, bro, by far the most impressive one was the wedge shot. That felt like 80, he said. That felt like 80 on the dot. Go watch this video. It's on TaylorMade's YouTube, Instagram. It is fucking mind-blowing how dialed in this guy's yardages are.
I mean, we got to make this video too, right?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Yes, we have to. That's a great call. We have to do that like right now. That's a great call.
We must do it. We must, and you could tell all those fucking losers trying to like people. People hate cool stuff. Basically, they don't like. They just don't want to be impressed, and they just want to knock others down.
Well-
which I'm describing total fucking losers. But if Adrian, who fits clubs and deals with Rory, he named his fucking kid Rory because he deals with and loves Rory so much. If he's used to doing this type of stuff with Rory and Tiger and all these elite ball strikers, and even he's giggling at how preposterous Scottie Scheffler's guesses were, then clearly it's impressive.
Those
you see
comments
Scottie,
actually make me feel
reposted?
a little bit better because when we do Breaking 90 and I putt it 75 times, people tweet at me and be like, "You suck at putting. You're the worst putter on the planet." It's like, okay. But then when I also see them tweeting these things about a professional golfer doing something amazing, you just realize that they're just never going to be happy with anything.
No.
You know what I
Never.
mean?
Yeah, they're like for us, they're like you're supposed to be better, and then for him, they're like you're supposed to be that good. So where is there? There's
That's
no
why you
middle
can't pay
ground.
attention. You just don't
There's
pay.
none.
You can't pay attention to any of it because no matter they're going to move the goalposts every single time.
Scottie reposted my Instagram story and wrote, "Just getting ready for our big match. Grinding out here, getting ready for our big match." That's like one of the bigger Instagram posts in foreplay history. The fact that the number one golfer on the planet has now said that he is grinding on the range to prepare for our 4-man scramble. Now,
Dude, let's get
Go ahead.
on a plane to Texas now. I'll get on a plane now.
we have to. Now that he does have the playoffs are starting August 5th, I believe. So like he's probably flying out to wherever the FedEx Cup playoffs are starting. Once the playoffs are over, September, we have to play against Scottie Scheffler.
We got to get him while he's number one too. We got to get him while he's number one.
Now that will change with FedEx Cup.
Depends how he plays.
But like FedEx Cup, like I don't know how the world rankings work. Like if you finish like number one in a playoff, does that get you higher rankings or no? Does it not take that into account?
I think you get more points for
Does.
playoffs. I'd be surprised if you don't.
Okay.
I bet it's
he's gotta
weighted a
play
little
well. He's got to play well.
We need him to play well, or we need the guys that are like on his heels, like Cam Smith and Rory, to like not play as So it's.
I mean, can we go to Texas like tomorrow and just play him? I mean, like, what is he doing? Like, where is
I'd love
he?
to.
I'd love
Where the
to.
fuck is this guy? Like,
Maybe
you
getting a
wanna
little
play
DM
Friday?
back and forth
I got to play Pop Punk.
with Scotty. Cancel it.
Yeah, we got a chance to win $800 million.
That's true. That's true.
Kidding me? You nuts? I'm gonna take that money and never do the podcast again. Like live.
See,
I win,
if Riggs and I won that money, we'd be here Monday night.
you'd be standing there swaying doing a fucking podcast.
I'd be
all right,
all right, Alex, send out that Riverside drink. We got to do the podcast.
Trent, the nice, cute Trent that everyone knows and loves, would send just the most fucked up email to every single person who's ever associated himself.
That's
with.
not true.
You'd be like, "Fuck you, Alex, you nice producer that helps us in this podcast. You piece of shit. Don't ever send me an email ever again. I'm done, bro. You
me ask you
changed
this.
so fast. What are you nuts?
Let me ask you this seriously: if you win that money, if we all won that money, or let's just say if you won that money, would you come to the next Breaking 90 shoot?
Yeah, I would. That'd be fun.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, but I'd be fucking walking in, spraying cash, and having like a tiger following me or some shit. I'd have fun with it.
No, but think about it. Not to get too real about it, but think about it like with Dave Portnoy. That's a guy who has so much money. He's made it past the pat. Like he could easily disappear if he wanted to. He said that, and he knows it. But he's a guy. He still just does it. He's like he has all that money, but he still posts on Twitter. He still does the pizza reviews. He still does the podcast. Like he's a guy who just loves it and will never ever stop.
You don't think he has ambitions to make more money or like own a team one day, or like you don't think like each time he's hit a goal, he wants like the next goal of like.
But you're acting like the guys on the tour can't do that.
Right,
no,
that's
it's just a
what
lot
they
harder
want.
for them.
That's
like
like
the thing
their
yeah.
That's like their ambition still exists. But theirs are in golf. That's like what they're chasing is golf, like success and victories and beating people down the stretch and fucking making birdie on 18 to win a fucking golf tournament. That's like what they're chasing.
Yeah. No, I just think it changes once you have money. This is all public.
But some
like,
people it
Dave
doesn't.
Always talked about like when we first had Barstool Radio. Dave was like, if I had 20 million, I'd go away tomorrow. And now it's like, well, he could have 100 million, he could have 200 million. It's like we should keep going.
That's our point.
It's like once you get a taste, I think you want to keep going. Yes, but I'm saying like money is definitely the catalyst in that. 1,000,000,000%.
It is
But
a
he
good,
still does
it
it.
is a good point that like yeah, right. And if you had like if you had $100 million tomorrow, you wouldn't be like, fuck you, Trent. I hope you don't break 90. I'm not like, you'd be there and you'd be filming it. Yes, your life would be better, it'd be different. You would probably fucking helicopter to the goddamn place and then PJ
Yeah,
to
you still
your
become
concert
you're
and
still
do
a
the whole
human
thing.
being. I mean,
Well,
Brooks
yeah,
Koepka's still a human being. He's like still like going on vacation with his wife and shit. Like, what are we
Totally,
acting
but
like? You take the money and you just like blip off the universe? I mean, what are
no,
we
but
talking
in
about
our
here?
world, we're trying to see how it's going to relate to their golf careers, and we're saying that a lot of guys aren't going to give up that PGA Tour because at the end of the day, what they want to do day in and day out is try to win PGA Tour events. That's
Okay,
what
but then to
drives them
take
as
it
a
back
human
to
being.
your question, I would not take the money just so I could show up to breaking 90 tomorrow. That's fucking insanity. If someone said you have $100 million on the table or you can go to breaking 90, I'm gonna be like, see you later, Trent. I mean, if it's one or the other, you gave me
Hurts
the
my
option where
feelings.
it's like if I won the money tomorrow,
That hurts my feelings.
you gave me the option saying if I won the money tomorrow, would I still show up? That's
Thought
like
this thing was
saying to
deeper
Brooks
than that.
Koepka,
Thought it was deeper than
if
that.
you shut the fuck up. That's like saying to Brooks Koepka, we're going to give you $200 million, but you could still show up to the 3M tournament tomorrow. He's going to be like, yeah, of course I'll do that. What are you, nuts? You gave me both options.
Thought it was deeper than that.
Right, and both. But my point is that if it's not like you're going to with that $200 million just do a completely different thing in your life. Like at some point, what is going on in your life actually brings you like purpose and happiness, and you like to do it. So that's what Will Zalatoris is saying. Is like there is something that he likes to do that is at some level going to outweigh the others. Like yes, in yours it's not an outweighing situation, but for a lot of guys, and clearly the top 16 guys in the world haven't gone, they are outweighing the pure money versus a scenario where they get to chase the tour and they also make a lot of money. That's another big part of it. Like they make a lot of money on the PGA Tour.
Yes, I'm just saying that if you give me the exact thing that Will Zalatoris is deciding between, because he can no longer chase the PGA Tour if he takes the money. I'm saying if I can no longer do breaking 90 because I took $100 billion, I will not be doing breaking 90 tomorrow. I'm choosing the opposite of what Will Zalatoris did. I'm sorry, Trent. I'm to take $100 million. Sorry, buddy.
All right, I guess I'll hit up Lurch, see if he wants to play golf together.
Yeah. I mean, you can find him. You need to fucking like Apple tag on that guy.
I put Apple tags on my air tags on my golf bag finally, and it's actually quite annoying because
travel hack.
Every time you're fucking. I mean, I know I can just change the notifications, and I've done that.
I
but
leave here by the way soon.
It's still like every time I walk like 100 feet away from my golf bag, I get like a notification. It's like, oh, you left it behind, but at least we're getting closer to where we're being able to do that from the gallery. We're gonna hit up Truly Hard Seltzer. They bring you from the gallery. Truly Hard Seltzer is delicious. They're the title sponsor of the Barstool Classic. They got over 30 flavors. There's something for everyone. All cans have under 110 calories, 1 gram of sugar, and are naturally gluten-free. That's huge. I know that's huge for Hannah Cook. That's why she likes them. Gluten-free, doesn't like gluten. Boom. Truly great. Under 110 calories, 1 gram of sugar, 30 flavors. We like all the flavors. Wild berry's been my favorite since day one, but they got a bunch of really, really good options. So go to trulyhardseltzer.com. Find a Truly Hard Seltzer near you.
I'm going to play fucking Shinnecock today. As crazy as that sounds. It's like a top 5 golf course on the planet. I mean, arguably. I mean, private. I mean, where is Shinnecock ranked? It's definitely top 3 in the United States. I don't know where they are ranked in the world.
It's probably a top 10 golf course in the world.
Which
like
is
in terms
insane.
of the Golf Digest rankings. I would say that I've said, and I think I still hold true to this, that I think Shinnecock, while it's one of my favorites I've ever played, it's not my personal like favorite, but I think it's the best golf course I've ever played. From like just like a test, a true natural test of golf, with all the holes are different and they're unique and they're interesting, and you're looking at that Shinnecock clubhouse. You can see it the entire time. It's got the history of the U.S. Opens. It challenges the guys all the time. I think it's like the best golf course I've ever played. And clearly it gets ranked. I think it is like 3rd in the United States of America.
Now, I've never been a history guy when it comes to golf, but I think something unlocked history and architecture. I don't fancy that stuff. I just like cool, fun golf.
You
but
like
now
history.
That
I think you like history.
So, but what I was gonna say is now that we went to Scotland and like got a taste for like the actual real OG history, I think it might have unlocked something in my brain. Now, people are allowed to change, they're allowed to adapt, they're allowed to learn new things, have new, you're allowed to look at things a different way. And I am like kind of excited to go to a place like Shinnecock that has a little bit of that history, the old school feel to it, the amazing fucking clubhouse, the crazy old school members that clubhouse apparently is unbelievable. Everything about it, the champions that have been won there, like it kind of has that Scotland feel where you're like, oh yeah, like legends have walked here before. It's cool.
You're gonna shoot a 97 one, burn that place to the ground, and be like, fuck this place.
No. I don't know. I mean, I'm still a Long Island National guy. I mean, I'm a National Golf Links of America guy. But we'll see. We'll see where this ranks.
Golf Digest latest America's 100 greatest golf courses list from 2021 has Shinnecock as the fourth greatest golf course in America.
I'm playing with Dan Katz, Barstool Big Cat. That's going to be a hell of an experience. So we'll see how that goes. I mean,
have you guys ever played golf together?
Never.
Wow.
Never once.
Wow.
Never.
Yeah, never.
A couple guys rolling.
Have you ever played with Big Cat?
No, I guess not. No, I did. Me and Riggs played with him. You remember that?
I was actually at Shinnecock. It wasn't at Shinnecock Hills, but it was near Shinnecock. We were up there for the U.S. Open. Remember that?
We did.
Yeah,
we did.
Really?
Yeah. Well, we played against their whole squad. Was it like it was Hank, Big Cat? Was PFT part of it, or was it just Hank and Big Cat?
I think it might have been just Hank and Big Cat.
I think Trent won like a rock, paper, scissors at the end to win the whole thing.
Yeah, we tied out on the course, and then we went to the parking lot and did a rock, paper, scissors, and we won.
Yeah, I can't remember the format. It was like a wild format, but yeah, it was. We won. We defeated them. That was the only time we played. We played like 9 holes or 5 holes. It wasn't a full deal, but Shinnecock Hills with Big Cat. Are you nervous? Like walking on eggshells? Nervous?
I'm a little nervous. I'm never met the guy who's bringing us out. Like, there's just a lot of the things that come with playing at a prestigious course. I'm nervous about. Not my game. I'm pretty confident in my game, although I haven't played since we did that Buffalo Chicklets Cup, and so many parts of my body are so sore from playing hockey 5 games in a row, like different things, like the insides of my legs I feel like concrete still, and like everything's just different. Sorry, I can't get this bubble out of my throat, guys.
No, you sound.
I'm just battling right now. I'm battling.
There you go.
I'm nervous about all that stuff, like I don't know where to park. Like, he gave me directions on where to park. I'm a little nervous about that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the eggshell. Those are the eggshells.
It's like, just move to the left. There's a pro shop on the left. Just park right by there. Don't park by the clubhouse. I'm like, all right.
It's like you gotta step into the clubhouse with your right foot. If you don't do that, you're out.
Yeah. No. I am excited though. It's a once in a billion chance to go play that course. And I mean, it's Shinnecock, man. It's the bee's knees of the golf world.
Well, good luck. I hope you light it up, Frankie. The first tee shot's intimidating.
I don't think it's a driver, right? I think you can like kind of rip a hybrid out there.
Yeah, you can hit a hybrid out there, but you're basically tee it off with your your left heel will be on the clubhouse.
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to be U.S. Open conditions, but Zach Johnson had a tough go there.
He did have a tough go there.
They lost that place.
They lost control of that place. It's a beautiful day out, so I'm expecting like the fescue to be all that Shinnecock golden brown, and just everything about it's not like it's cloudy. It's gonna like everything's gonna be shiny and green. I'm excited. I'm bringing a lot of balls.
I don't know if you'll really lose any balls out there.
The fescue's not thick. Is it kind of airy?
Yeah, it's airy and wispy more than it is like thick boy. You know.
Okay. All right.
Let's go. From the gallery, brought to you by trulyhardseltzer.com. Let's go to Tyler, who says, are European golfers as a whole, all amateurs, everybody, are European golfers as a whole better than us Americans? So would a full-on average Joe Ryder Cup be won by Europe or the U.S.?
I mean, I'm going to sound biased, but I think it's the U.S.
I think so, too.
Think about it as a numbers game, too.
I think it's U.S.
I guess like just the United States players on average, the pros end up just being better than the Europeans. So like if you take that into account, like obviously the amateurs on some level are better because they're turning into better pros. So
Right.
It's just a fact of the matter.
That's exactly what I think. I couldn't agree more. So yeah, we're just better. We're gonna claim that we're better. Let's go to Kyle. Kyle says, given the opportunity to play as the last team out in a 54-hole LIV event, would the 4-play scramble team take the opportunity to play in a LIV event to see how they would stack up with the uncertainty of how the USGA, PGA Tour, etc. would react and how the media would react?
You gotta show me the money. I ain't playing in shit unless I'm getting paid crazy money from LIV. That's the only reason you would ever go there and deal with the whole circus. It's been my point the entire time. It's like all the stuff that comes with it is only quote unquote worth it to deal with anything if you're making life-changing, generational changing money.
They're growing the game. That's why they do it. They grow the game.
I'm not going to any fucking LIV event unless like literally, if I go to a LIV event, that means that I'm packing up this house and moving to a nicer one. Like I want major changes in my life.
Yeah, I would say no, unless we got paid an outrageous amount of money.
Like if I have to, like the moving trucks will have to get out of my way for me to make it to the course, because like I'm already moving to like Cold Spring Harbor and like I'm gonna have a match. You know what I mean? Like things are happening if I'm playing in a pro-am there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say just to go and see how we do. Even if we were paid out based on our finishing position as a team, I would say no.
No, I can't.
Right.
Then like, yeah, you just can't.
I wouldn't even go. I won't even go to an event. I won't even go to a LIV event.
No.
Like, would you go as even a fan or a media member?
No, you can't. You can't. You can't do the thing that everyone's getting like yelled at and fucking and screamed at and canceled for on the internet just for nothing. You like that's the dumbest decision. That would be the dumbest decision that anyone's made in this entire process.
Yeah.
Like who'd that lunatic be? Lurch?
I think going as media, I think, is a little different, but maybe not even that different. But I think
there's some media people that are just like doing it that I really wonder how much they're getting paid. Like what's her name that's on the fucking broadcast now? We saw her, Troy Mullins. She's like a part of the LIV broadcast now, which I was stunned.
Well, if you're getting paid to be media, that's different.
Totally. I'm saying like people that just go like when we go to the US Open, people that just cover it. That no, we would never. I would not do that. But I mean, I would say we would need what a 8-figure offer at least for us to consider going to like a LIV event.
Yeah.
If I get to call my daddy and say, "Daddy, I have $10 million in the bank tonight because I'm going to this golf tournament," that's going to be worth it for me to go there. So I'm in. We need to start negotiating. We need to find a number and just say, this is the number. If they want to send it to us, we're just going to be a different type of podcast. Simple as that. We got to stop beating around the fucking bush. Throw a number out there. If they match it, they match it.
Right. That's the
Trent
thing.
doesn't have to take
we
it.
put ourselves in a weird spot.
I'll take your fucking number.
Like theoretically do these numbers when there is no number. Nobody has even there hasn't been a number. So it's, what are you supposed to say?
20 million a guy. Everyone agree?
I don't know. We'd have to see what the contract looks like.
I need it. I don't want to. I just need to see a number. I don't want to theoretically be like, oh yeah, baby, woo, gas up the yacht. But when the number doesn't actually exist, I think that's a stupid thing to do.
I need to see a number and the terms. Like if the terms are you have to defend like Saudi Arabian regime no matter what. I don't know if I can.
You'd hope that the terms are not included in that for all the guys that have signed over.
Frankie's going to be the LIV Mike Francesa, one podcast, just like, all right, here we are.
I'll take your money. I mean, listen, if they want to offer it to us, I will take Trent's half, and then that's fine. If you want to stand for morality when it comes to the end of the day,
Sometimes I like to do that. Yeah.
That's fine.
Shopify.
We'll elect Trent as like our fucking freedom of speech maker. He'll be in fucking. You're gonna start doing all these things. You're gonna start talking about all the regimes.
None of that made sense.
Shopify makes sense. All-in-one commerce platform to run, start, and grow your business. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big business so that upstart startups and established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Shopify offers online retailers a suite of services that include payments, marketing, shipping, and customer engagement tools. You can connect with your customers, which is very important. You can drive sales. You can manage your day-to-day, all extremely important. Shopify instantly lets you accept all major payment methods. Shopify has thousands of integrations and third-party apps. Go to shopify.com/4, all lowercase. You get a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. What are you waiting for? Go to shopify.com/4, all lowercase, free 14 days. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/4 right now. That is shopify.com/4. Mike says, would you rather join the LIV Tour for $300 million or win the Masters once?
It's a good question. That's probably Rory's question.
That I know what Rory would take.
Right. I guess we do know.
What would Rory take?
He's already got.
I think he takes a Masters. That's the career Grand Slam.
I guess, yeah. His question would be the opportunity.
He joins 5 other people of all time.
The opportunity to win a Masters, I guess. But I guess you can still play the Masters as it stands right now. I mean, it just puts you on a different trajectory, right? Like $300 million, you're good. You're set. You don't have to do anything. Or you win a Masters, you can have a Trevor Immelman career, which is a pretty good one. It's like a good, respectable standing in the golf world.
Boy, $300 million is a lot. But I would say, I am going to say win the Masters once because, man, you win the Masters, you're going to the Champions Dinner. Also, you're sick at golf. Like, if you won the Masters once, you're just a good golfer. So the rest of your life playing golf will be really fun. When you get the chance to go to Shinnecock or Pebble or whatever, you can just play the golf course pretty well because you're so good that you won the Masters one time. It's going to be lucrative. You're going to be able to parlay that into whatever. I mean, if we're just hosting this podcast and, like, Riggs starts the show and he's won the Masters before. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? So
true.
I get that $300 million is outrageous, but like I think I'm taking the Masters.
You're not going to be broke if you win the Masters. Things are going to be fine. You're not. No. I mean, it's not going to be $300 million, but you're going to be fine. Yeah, I would take the Masters. Champions Dinner is a big part of it. Just being able to sit in that room with Tiger for the next 20 years. Fuck, dude, that's pretty amazing.
I might pay $300 million just to do that. I'd pay $300 million just to sit in that fucking room.
Yeah, you do get a lot of money from winning the Masters. And Trevor Immelman's got a hell of a life.
Yeah.
Was that an answer?
I mean, it's tough. It's like we just talked about how I would take $300 million over anything like 2 seconds ago. I think I'd take $20 million. So like I think I'd take the $300 million.
$300 million is a lot of cash.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot.
It's tough.
Of cash.
It's a tough answer for me, honestly. It's a lot. Because like you're deciding between winning one Masters or being like the highest earning athlete like in the country. Like, you know what I mean? $300 million is so much money.
That's definitely that's the decision.
Trent, I think you have a decision to make. This is some bad news on your part. Did you see the Saudi Arabian investments is now investing in Starbucks?
No, I did not see that.
So will you take a stand against Starbucks?
Here's where that's incredibly different to me is that Starbucks in that case doesn't get to decide who like invests.
What do you mean?
Like if they just buy up a bunch of Starbucks, like stock in Starbucks, like that's Starbucks doesn't get to be like, no, you can't buy. Like that's not how it works.
So they never get a choice on who like is a purchaser of their brand. That's never happened like that. You can't like Apple can never decide. It's never happened like that,
but I'm saying like in this case, if it's like the fund which is out there in a free market system and like decides to like invest in Starbucks, that's not Starbucks choosing like morally what to do. That's like anybody can just buy their thing. So that's not like in the way I said, that's not like Starbucks management being like, yep, we're all in on the Saudis. That's not really their call.
I didn't know they had no choice. Okay. So I learned something there. I didn't know a business had no choice in who invests in them.
Well, it's not a business doesn't have a choice. If you're like a publicly traded company, right, then
Right.
that's what that means. Publicly traded. Like the public is trading your shares of the company. So you don't have
I
any
get
control
that.
over
I'm
that.
saying I
Not
didn't know
allowing
they
people
had
to
no
do that
control at no end.
would actually go against everything.
All right. So you can
But
keep
again,
those-
it depends. I don't know the exact, like, I haven't seen that news story, so maybe it's something different. I do, like, the only reason I brought that up is because I think people do equate those things, which in some instances isn't fair. Some it absolutely is. Like if a company is trying to like fundraise at a pretty younger state, and they're like, yep, the PIF, I think it is, which is a Saudi fund, is like going to invest $20 million in our business. Let's go. That's very different. You're like directly being like, fuck yeah, these guys, we're going to take their blood money. Let's do it, which is very similar to the LIV argument. But I think if you're right, like if Penn National Gaming, if like the Saudi fund buys up $100 million worth of like Penn National Gaming stock, Penn National isn't like, people shouldn't, in my opinion, like you can't be like, oh, we're not going to go to Penn casinos, we're against Saudi. Penn's like, what did we do? We're just sitting here like trying to manage Barstool and like all of our stuff. We don't have any control over that.
See, that's where I just didn't know if that was a thing. Like I didn't know that they just went on like etrade.com and just bought up stock. I thought for sure you'd have like meetings with like the CEOs and they'd know exactly where the money is coming from and they would be buying and purchasing stock from already current stockholders. Like wouldn't it be like an acquisition of a certain amount of shares and like clearly Starbucks would know who they're working with?
In this case, like it might be, but look what happened with Twitter. Like Elon Musk just bought up like 9% of Twitter or whatever it was. And
but he had to like try and acquire. They had to like approve it, right? They had to approve that takeover.
When he tried to buy the whole thing.
Eventually, then they got to a point where they were like, fuck, this guy's threatening basically to buy up so much of Twitter that he's going to control Twitter. So why don't we like enter negotiations with him to like then make a decision? And then they started to get a bunch of backlash of like, hey, you guys are going to, from people that hate Elon Musk, being like, you guys are going to let Elon Musk just buy you out and take over Twitter. But up to that point, I think the number was 9%. Like if Elon Musk, goes on like etrade.com and is like, I'm going to buy $10 billion worth of Twitter. Twitter's like, well, fuck, what can we do? That's actually how the whole fucking thing happened.
It's crazy. That is,
that's
that's
insane.
I guess that's why like Steve Jobs got like bought out of his own company.
Exactly.
It's just crazy shit.
On some level, you don't, like, once you go kind of public, you enter, and I'm not going to act like I'm some fucking financial expert. Like, Large would know a ton about this. But at some level, publicly traded companies, it's like you don't really have control over who buys and starts to run your company. If you did, you wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't be able to benefit from all the benefits that come of raising money from the public.
We're gonna get a lot of finance
Starbucks
bros that want to give us.
Oh,
you know what?
I'm going to keep drinking Starbucks. That's my answer.
Okay.
We're going to get a lot of response.
Look at LIV Golf. LIV Golf is just, it's just been, it's relevant. It just
because
drives,
like you say it's not fair,
man.
You say it's not fair to like bring that stuff in, but I do think it is fair to say like to start stretching to those points because like we're already stretching. I think a lot of the times when we're talking about golf and we're bringing other things into it, like I think it opens up doors to be able to talk about a lot of things now. If you're gonna say that, like so many doors have been opened with this Saudi and golf connection that I think it's all fair game at this point now.
Yeah, I definitely. I think it is hypocritical to be like, we're going to criticize golfers for taking money, but anyone else who doesn't we're just never going to bring it up. That is incredibly hypocritical, but I also don't think that equates to like meaning we shouldn't criticize people for taking, blood money or dirty money. Like those two things don't have to be mutually exclusive. But I do think it starts to get tough when everybody gets lumped into like, oh, the Saudi fund invested in this. And the people were like, we didn't have any fucking control over that.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing we could do about that. They went and bought it up or not that So there's different, obviously, like degrees. If someone clearly is presented with, you're going to be the Ryder Cup captain,
made a good
you're
point.
You're going to have, your Ryder Cup captain, like stripped, and you leverage that to take like the Saudi money. That's different than if the Saudi fund just like buys up some of your public stock.
Yeah. Because we get the tweets all the time. It's like, it's Boeing, it's like Starbucks, it's like all these companies that are it's happened our entire lives.
Right. It's like, if you buy a pair of shoes, you can't have an opinion against a Saudi regime. Like that's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Because it's like I just need I just bought shoes. I don't know everything that's connected to everything that's going on in the world. and I've said this before about the Saudi with the LIV thing, it's just so clear. And it's as clear as it's ever going to be. And for it still to go that direction where guys are like, I'll take it. That's where it's kind of like, all right, fuck. It's just, it's far more clear than every other example where it's like, I bought these shoes, but then they bought stock in Nike and it's like, fuck. But
It's
like,
clear because it's easier for us to like comprehend because it's just like a headline of like this is going to this, but like we just weren't there for when like all the money went into like our favorite brands and companies as well. The meetings, we weren't there for any of those meetings. Those weren't headlines. Those weren't on like Golf Central with like golf Twitter people talking about it. It's the same essential thing. A guy just met with them, had an acquisition, got money, and then started an American business and started taking people away from American businesses and starting their own businesses. It's been happening for years upon years. It's just this is easier for us to consume.
Which
there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, that's my whole point. And
way
it's still
easier for us to consume.
Way easier. And I like that's kind of what you need. And you know, these regimes like when things get messy because then it just becomes part of the noise and it's like, oh, now this is just part of the landscape. So yeah, when it's so directly clear what is happening, in my opinion, that's when I want to say something and be like, that's pretty fucking nuts and it's kind of fucked up.
But like, I hate when I say like an example, I'll say, well, China is a horrific regime that we've now just successfully sport washed. And always the response is like, well, it's like, it's different. And
see,
like,
I don't
it's
know.
I know nothing about cut and dry, but it's like, it's pretty much the same exact thing. They're just years upon years of successfully doing it. They've had Olympics, they've had professional sports, they've had businesses go over there. It's just like they've done the thing that that Saudi Arabia is trying to do that we're now trying to talk about not doing. But it's like every time I bring that up, it's like, well, it's like the same thing. It's just completely different.
Right, but does that mean you shouldn't criticize the Saudi Arabian regime and like people going to Saudi Arabia?
No, I don't think so. I think that's fair. I think you're allowed to criticize people, but my whole stance has been why people are doing it and like why I think like on a human level someone would make that decision. And it's not fair to me to be able to say like they're just a part of a Saudi Arabian regime by doing this, because if that's the case, then I will then bring up all the other cases in which people have then done it, and then essentially the whole world is part of the Saudi Arabian regime.
I genuinely think that like awareness is up in this world, for better or for worse. Like people just know about more shit that's going on. Social media, headlines that you're talking about. People just know what's going on. And I don't think like, obviously that has its pros and its cons in a lot of ways. But in this way, people know and people are looking at it being like, wait, that's what's going on, because there is an awareness of these headlines that you talk about. People being like, the Saudi regime is funding this golf league and it's paying guys way more than they're worth. And why are they doing that? And that's the awareness. Like again, the China stuff, I really don't know anything about. And it'd be tricky territory for me to talk about any of it because I know nothing. But I would assume that when it was all happening, there was less awareness about it and it just kind of happened. Nowadays, there's a lot more of people being like, look at that, look at that. Again, there's tons of pros and cons with social media and people can just grab a headline and think what they want to think. But I do think the overall awareness of it is there where it wasn't before.
I agree with that.
Yeah, which is probably not fair to the guys now, right? Like it's like, oh, I don't have the like easy option to just take a ton of money and not be as criticized for it as people did 10 or 20 or 30 years ago. Like that's probably not particularly fair. But to your point, it is true, and it's like it is very publicly laid out. Like, oh, here are your choices, Mr. Stenson. One is going to come with you looking like a complete shithead, and the other is going to come with you being a pretty good guy. And
it's
he's
cut and dry. It's very cut and dry. It's 2 + 2 = 4. The other stuff is fucking PEMDAS. Right. Like the other stuff is so fucking just long division, ridiculous type of math, and this is legitimately 1 + 1 = 2. I get that. I completely get that. It's easier for outrage. It's easier for all this stuff, which is just the world we live in. When it's just a click and it's I hate this, that's so much easier to be able to get into an argument or have an opinion as opposed to like doing research and thinking about the other stuff. Like it's never going to happen.
That's
and you also can't go back in time, and you can't like.
That's the bad part of it. I agree with you, but the awareness of it, I think, generally ends up being a good thing.
I totally get that. I've always been on the side of like you're allowed to think that these guys are taking like bad money and that the decision they're not making the morale decision. They're not like becoming these like knights in shining armor that are saving the world. And my whole stance the entire time has been like, when have we decided that golfers have ever had to be those types of people? And it's just for them, it sucks that it's so cut and dry that like they are now labeled as those types of people, but that's the decision they made. Honestly, I mean, they knew what it was going to be. Whatever the situation came to, like they are a part of a situation that is cut and dry, and they knew what the negatives were going to be. So
Right.
it's their decision.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agreed. But I just think that a lot of people who see successful athletes, in this case the golfers, who make already millions of dollars, I just think a lot of those folks would be like, it'd be nice to see them make a morally sound decision here and like take a stand because they're already successful. They already have millions. It'd be like nice to see. And I think that's why people rally around and we're rooting as hard for Rory outside of him being European and all that. Like is rooting as hard for Rory at the Canadian Open and at the Open Championship because it's like these are our heroes and they're kind of like it'd be cool if they live up to being heroes, not just like hitting good golf shots and taking money. And like they shouldn't be ridiculed to like the billionth degree if they do, but they're going to get ridiculed to a degree for sure. And I think they probably deserve it. And I think they're probably cool with that. And some of them have gotten stabby in interviews when they're confronted with it, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. They're going to take the money and some aren't. And here we are. And we have heavy shows. We're just have heavy shows now. That's what it gets down. That's what
There's so much to talk about. And honestly, I think this was like the more like reasonable explanation that I've heard that like I actually agree with what you guys are saying as opposed to it just being like it's wrong or it's not. Like it's more I totally get what you guys are saying. I mean, it makes more sense. And honestly, the business aspect to me is what made it make more sense where it's like it's so much more fishier and there's so many more connectors in the other world as opposed to this just being so A and B. This is the decision. You have one decision, you have a consequence, and this is just easier for us to be able to just strike you down.
I do like that we can end it with Dan Rappaport just tweeted Charles Howell III on his decision to join LIV. Quote, money was not a factor, unquote.
It's just a lie. Just a lie. That's a slap in the face. Like that's a slap in the face to guys like me that are trying to see the rational side on both sides and trying to play devil's advocate, and then you're just lying to us like that. If you just said it's the money, at least I can make the argument on this podcast on your behalf of being like, yeah, it is about the money, and he took it. That's it. Simple as that. That is his reasoning. At least we know his reasoning. At least we know his reasoning for taking B in the consequences. That's all we ask for.
I haven't gone through all the transcripts.
When you lie, it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
I haven't gone through all the transcripts from all the LIV press conferences, but even the guys who people are heaping with praise at these LIV press conferences, that are like a Pat Perez, where he was like, feels like I won the lottery. I genuinely think that they just can't say money. Nobody has said money. You can't say the word money if you were saying that I took it for money. It's always, it was financially motivated or I won the lottery. It's like, no one will just say, I'm here for the money. And I just don't think you can.
I guess that I would assume that that's a part of some packet for growing the game of golf from that area of LIV, right? Like I think that you would assume that the people that are hard at work to actually try and make this tour work would want the respect from the players to be like, can you at least act like this is about the golf? Right? Like, I mean, let's all like have a head on our shoulders here on this podcast and understand that there's people that are making decisions here. It's not just a guy with a gun to people's heads in the Saudi regime. They're not going to Saudi Arabia and having fucking conversations. These are real. You're shaking your head like saying that's not real. There's real fucking people there working there that are like, hey, can we try and make this a legitimate business? Can you guys, when you do your press conferences, can you at least talk about like how it's going to grow the game and we put all this money into golf? Like, is everyone ignoring that we're putting billions of dollars into the game of golf?
That outrageous situation you described, I don't think is too far behind the curtain.
It's very far behind. I mean, they're holding a gun to Brooks Koepka's head and saying,
no, not Brooks' head. No,
I mean, come on, Trent. What are you talking about?
Okay.
You genuinely think that that's happening right now?
No.
You're a Washington Post journalist. Like, it's not that
like
crazy
you're acting like it's outside of the realm.
What they do.
I'm not saying they're holding a gun to Brooks' head, but I'm saying that like it's menacing force.
Yeah, I agree with that. No, I mean they're obviously, but I just think that the side that what you're asking for, where you're saying they can't talk about money, I don't think that that's coming from like a if you say it you're dead point. I'm saying I genuinely believe my opinion would be that it's coming from more the business side of trying to create this into a legitimate business as opposed to saying I'm only here for the money. How would that ever help them in any way from a business standpoint?
I'm just
Well,
saying,
right, but now the issue that we're getting to is you're by going over there taking a deal where you know you have to lie in front of people, and that's a shitty position to be in. That's the crux of the issue. In our
See, like
point is like,
we're also forgetting like Rory McIlroy, who's the prince of the PGA Tour, came out and like we kind of ignore that he made these statements where he's like, if they're putting this much money into golf, maybe it is a good thing. Like there are people that believe that at that in that world. So like at the end of the day, wouldn't they just take that stance? Isn't it just easier for them as a business to just say, yeah, we are putting money into the game of golf. We're trying to make it better. You really want like I genuinely think that there's people that send out that memo saying like this is what we're trying to push.
but like so when Charles Howe III says money was not a factor, that's just a lie, and so I think
100%.
that is hard. Like the reason that you're using the reason that you're touting the point of like, oh yeah, money going into the game of golf is a great thing and we're trying to grow is because you cannot just say that you took the money, because the part of the deal, and we've seen the memos have gone out, like here's what you say if you're asked this. That's again, you're now a puppet. Like you are a puppet for the sports washing, which is why we have been negative about it throughout and why people are getting flack. And if you're okay with that, that's fine, but you have made a deal with the devil. Your millions of dollars that you get comes with a negative in this case, and that negative is what we're seeing right now. That's just what it is. And if you're okay with it, you're okay with it.
Yeah. No, yeah. At the end of the day, like if you think that they're saying that because they don't want to be murdered, then that's one thing. Or if you think they're saying it because like their tour executive said to say it, then that's another thing. Like I tend to believe that it's probably the people like in Florida that are sending them like a text message being like, hey, just don't say that's about the money. We're trying to like grow the tour.
Yeah, I agree with that, but those people that are sending that are backed by and paid by and reporting
Yes.
to people that execute and murder people,
Yes, I agree.
which is dicey to say the best.
incredibly.
It's very simply said, very dicey.
Very dicey. All right, you got to go play Shinnecock.
Yes, I'm going to be late.
We don't want you to be late. You're already doing the eggshells thing. Go to store.barstoolsports.com. We got hats. We got G4 shoes that are sick. We got all kinds of cool stuff on there. It's the Year of the Tiger. And check out Steph Curry tonight on Steph Curry and Jay Rich, his boy, on our YouTube page, Foreplay Golf. And we'll be back on next week. I'll be at the Wyndham Championship. So if you're going to be out there, maybe I'll see you. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit hard.